The next item is the Facilities Rebuild North Beach Community Creche.
Just
do you want to move it
to council?
first?
No, this has just come direct to council, so the committee didn't have time to consider it fully and thought we should just refer it to council. I'd be interested in hearing the view from the local councillors for this area.
Who wants to move it and second it? So if the two local councillors would like to, that would be a Pauline Cotter and an Ali Jones. Eh? Okay.
It's opposite St Andrew's
Well, why
Church
don't we
in
have one each, because it's coming from one ward and going into another. So Pauline Cotter, David East. So that's been moved and seconded. So let's have a discussion about that.
And the key question I had for council staff and possibly for the local councillors is there no other community use that this site, on its existing site, could entertain, given that we are walking away from a considerable amount of insurance by agreeing. We actually are losing a lot of money by agreeing to do this.
Okay. So who would like to take that on?
Good morning, my name's Gary Watson. I'm the Strengthening Communities Manager for the east part of the city. So Burwood Pegasus is one of my wards. Through contact with the community, there hasn't been a need that has come up from any community group around another facility. We have two reasonably close facilities, one at Ascot and one at North Beach, as in community facilities. This building was used as a sole use as a creche. If another creche was to go back in there would be...
Sorry, where's the North Beach Primary School? I've never heard of it.
It's about...
towards the beach.
It's actually called the North New Brighton Primary, unless it's changed its name.
No, it is the North Beach Primary.
No. Has it changed its name because of the amalgamation?
Look, if I can clarify, there is the North New Brighton School. There used to be the North New Brighton Community Creche. They have now called themselves the North Beach Community Creche.
Yeah, but it's relocated to the North Beach Primary School. I've never heard of it.
That part's erroneous. I mean, locally it is known as the North Beach School, but officially it is the North New Brighton School.
But I thought it might have changed its name because of the amalgamation with Freeville.
Not yet. No? So officially it's still, that's erroneous. It should be officially the North New Brighton School, but locally it's known as North Beach.
I thought I knew the area quite well.
Sorry.
That's right.
So I guess to answer the question, there hasn't been a group that has come forward. We feel reasonably confident that the site itself isn't the best site for a community centre for general community. That's the feedback we've had.
So how did you consult with the local community about whether there was a community facility need?
We talk through the community forums. Every community meeting we've had, it's come up as a discussion. People were aware. The preschool had no requirement to go back. But we asked. We just had nobody put their hand up.
Did it go through the community board?
Went through the board.
Yeah, and you couldn't find a use for it at all. No. Okay.
It's actually quite a small site too.
Yeah, I know the site. Yeah.
My question, what size is the site?
Off the top of my head, I think it's 540 square metres and a rather strange shape.
Just over minimum section size.
So we own the land? Yeah.
Yep, Ali?
I'm just looking at the repair costs, and that's basically what the option was from the insurer, and quite clearly there's a $130,000 difference between the indemnity value and the repair. So the full cover for it was $280, and it has been identified as repairable, and yet there is a key collapse mechanism problem with the building. Who has made the decision that it was repairable?
I take it was through the insurance company. The insurance company came back that they agreed there was $213,000 worth of damage. City Care went and had a look, and they came at 217,000. And yes, it was insured for over 280,000 all up.
So I can't rationalise the issue of the collapse mechanism problem and the amount that's been decided for the repair. Have you had engineering reports and information like that completed on the building?
I might just have to get someone else a little more knowledgeable.
Yeah.
I think it's a really good question because it doesn't seem to... You would think that if there was that much damage, it would actually be uneconomic to repair by any rational kind of measure. So, again, not wanting to hold things up, but if there is more work or information that councillors want around this, happy for it to come back to the committee next month and then come back to council.
But they're not selling all of it, are they? They're selling part of it, and it says that the collapse mechanism is in the roof diaphragm, which I would imagine is a significant part of the repair cost, if that is the part that's being sold. I mean, it doesn't make it clear whether that's the entire building or just a part of it. Has anyone got any of that information?
So, unfortunately, using the information. Unfortunately, the staff member with that information is away today. We believe that there have been detailed engineering assessments done of this building.
Yep.
And to support this information in this report. Unfortunately, we just can't provide those today.
Well, do people want to proceed with it today, or do they want to wait?
Can I just make a comment to that? I mean, my biggest concern about this is that without that information and without clarity on this decision, I can't really support something that essentially means that we've got the repair of a building that we're amazingly fully covered for, when in fact it could possibly be uneconomic to repair, and we could have a building there that provides services for the community. I'd like some more information before we...
Next month. Let's just have it come back to the committee next month.
So why was it referred directly up here?
We just ran out of time at the committee.
All right. David?
Well, I think we need to sort of reflect on the fact that, as Gary has pointed out, at a number of community forums in the Bua-Pegasus area, this property and building has been brought up on numerous occasions. And there are, on top of the Ascot facility and the War Memorial Hall at North Beach, there's also the Freeville School Hall, also in very close proximity. The school is closing, but I'm not sure what would happen to the hall. There are more than adequate facilities in that immediate area, excuse me, for the community. I actually think it's actually quite a good opportunity for a neighbouring group in Spencerville that have lost their facility to actually have the ability to uplift part of this, and I don't think they're taking the whole thing, it's part of it.
No, just part of it.
And relocate it to Spencerville. I think it's a win-win situation for both areas. The site becomes vacant. The land is, I'm not sure whether it's TC2 or 3 there, but it certainly would be able to be sold off as a buildable section for council to recover the cost of the land. And I actually support the proposal fully.
Yeah. Pauline?
I'm fairly supportive of this, but don't forget, if the facility is not going to be used, even if we fixed it, then council's still up for ongoing maintenance and operation of that. However, my concern is, without having the information about the building, we'd be foisting perhaps an unsafe building on the other community of Spencerville. That would be my concern, if we could get that clarified.
So I think it's just... appreciate that, you know, I just think if it comes back to the committee where we've got the staff responsible, because the other question, the logical question would be, why not actually repair it before you move it, so you actually get a building that's fit for purpose, so it's easy to relocate. But again, the people that have that information aren't here today.
Yeah, but they're not taking it all. The Spencerville Residents Association have agreed to be responsible for removal of the part of the building they require, capping of water, waste, stormwater services at the boundary, leaving their portion of the site level clear of hazards and safe, any building and resource consents they require to relocate the building to the alternative site. So, I mean, they're taking full responsibility for this. I mean, I don't know what you're going to get from an additional report. I mean, I'm kind of with David East on this. Yeah. Just let them take it for $1. But we're losing 27,200 at the moment. We haven't had any lease from the place since September 2013. The creche doesn't want to go back there, and we've got no other community use for it. So you fix it for $100 and something thousand for what? Yep.
I'm actually in support of this. I think that you've got two communities. One is through consultation has identified they don't need it. There's another community that wants it and takes full responsibility of it. I think it's a win-win situation, and I'm fully supportive of it. Thank you.
One of my focus points here is on 3.4, future use of the site. And I think that would be something that we need to keep in mind.
Yeah, well, that's a further report.
Yeah.
You know, and we might sell the site. We might, you know, put a house on it.
I think
that's
perhaps what I'm concerned
sections.
about is that I'm still not satisfied from the lack of information we have that the building is not a total loss. If the building is a total loss, why can't we actually potentially have our cake and eat it too? Again, I don't know what the discussions and assessments have shown, but if that building is a total loss, then it gets its full insurance, and there may be an ability within the insurance policy to rebuild that on another site. I just don't think, I think we are limiting our options if we go with something like this without the full information.
Sorry? Yes, so Carolyn, yeah. Yes. Oh.
I've just had a brain memory. The dispensable organisation were given the engineers report, which has just arrived last year, and they took the report away, went through it. They were happy with the state of the building. They understood that the section that they were getting was the piece that had the roof issue, but they were aware that they would be able to, having moved it and not being attached, could be repaired reasonably easy. And so they were happy with what they were getting, and they were happy with the engineer's report, the D-assessment that was done.
It'll be consent anyway once it's...
Yeah. Sorry, my lack of recall.
Yeah, but I think that the point that Ali Jones is making is that she's questioning whether we should go with the insurance and have it fully repaired, but then not necessarily have anyone to lease it to. So that's the question.
Point two is, are we confident enough that the building is not a write-off? Because I don't know what the policy is, but essentially there may be an option in the policy there that you can, if it's not economic to repair, that you could rebuild that on another piece of land and therefore get your full insurance entitlement, whereas with this option here, you're essentially walking away from 130k, which is fine if you're making that decision based on being in receipt of all the information. No, that's my concern.
The advice that we've had is that the insurer believes it can be repaired, as do we, and the only difference is $4,000. 213,000 versus 217,000.
Yeah, but I haven't got the reports and information that backs up what the insurer is saying, and in fact, who has assessed the detailed engineering report or where that's come from.
But the council has agreed with the insurer. This is an unusual situation, we know, but there is agreement on the two that is the position. So yes, it is true that we, instead of repairing the building, would take a much lesser value in terms of the indemnity value. But overall, the question is that we can repair the building for $213,000, maybe $4,000 more than that. But who do we then lease it to?
That's why I'm asking, is there an option that you can actually move the building or rebuild the building on another site? as is very common in a number of insurance policies. So, I mean, I understand what you're saying, so absolute trust and faith in what's been said by the insurer and staff. If you want to go down that road, Magic, we'll move on. However, if there is a question about whether this building is repairable or not, then you have to start looking at what the policy says with regards to what your options are. And if we can take a building at $213,000 and put it brand new on another site somewhere, if that's what the policy allows for, why would we not look at that option? But that is a moot point if we are going with what the DEAs have found to date, which is that it is economic to repair.
The building is insured for $280,000.
Or $280,000.
But that means it's economic to repair at $213 or $217.
That's what I'm saying. If you're going, okay, no, I'm sorry, I'm obviously not making my point, but if you are agreeing with what the staff are saying, if you are agreeing what the insurer is saying, I absolutely understand what you're saying. What I'm saying is I want to see the information. I personally would want to see the information so that I support what the assessments say to date. But if you're going with what staff and what insurers are saying, then yes,
Is there anything in delaying this to return to the community committee, have the report updated and come back to the next council? That's not going to delay things other than another month's worth of non-rent?
You might also include something in that report about the future use of the site, so we could actually get the whole thing sorted at once, which would seem sensible.
Is that possible? Okay, all right, we'll do that. But I'll have to put the motion.
The only other thing I would say, if we went down Ali's track and looking at saying to the insurance company, can we rebuild this facility somewhere else and take the full value of the insurance? What would you build for $280,000? And I think you wouldn't build much, and that's something that needs to be considered as well. So the fact that we've got an offer on the table to take a part of it away, we get $80,000 indemnity. If we go the other way, which Shelley's, it's a fair point, and say, well, could we build another facility for another community by taking this insured value and rebuilding somewhere else? What are we actually going to get for 280k? I would say very little.
You get nothing on that site because of the
amount
of investigation that has to be done on the
capitalising on the value of the insurance to build something for $280,000, I would suggest you're not actually going to get much for your money.
A lot more than you would pay too.
Well, yes, but I mean, it becomes a question of do we actually move this off-site for $1, and they do it all. We get 82k for the indemnity of it. We still own the land, which we can sell off then for housing or another use, and move on. I think if we go down Ali's track, which is it's admirable, we are then faced with the prospect of trying to build another facility for $280,000. I would suggest we're going to have to top it up with about as much again to get a reasonable facility.
But just to move things along, I'm going to move Councillor Jones second that the report be referred, this is an amendment I guess, back to the community committee and further information be provided about the insurance and possible future uses of the site. So I'll put the amendment, which isn't really an amendment, it's an alternative, but no, Councillor Jones, not Johansson. So I'll put the amendment. All those in favour say aye. Aye. Those opposed say no. No. That's carried.